It's Faye Drive with Gavin and Ella.
Hello. Well, Ella and Gavin, but I'm not bitter.
And we're delighted right now to be joined by Maisie Williams.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
I'm great. It's snowed.
Yeah. Which
yeah?
we hate. Well, I hate. You don't
Oh
hate.
no, we've talked about this. I love a bit of snow.
It was an hour-long traffic jam in London last night, which
Your journey up
sucked.
to Birmingham was pretty quick.
Yeah, up here was absolutely fine, and it was beautiful as well with all the snowy rooftops.
Yeah, Virgin Trains, unbeatable. So we're here to talk to you about a bit about Daisie, a bit about Maisie, a little bit about Game of Thrones, obviously. It has to be brought in. And talk a bit about Fade and maybe your go-to dance moves. We might come to that later.
Can't wait.
So do you want to describe the app Daisie for people that just know nothing about it?
So we are a platform for artists to be able to find one another and collaborate on projects and hopefully work on their talent and create better, more well-rounded art through collaboration with other people. Wow, that was really bad. But it's we kind of I feel like our users are built by people that feel like they're outcasts from other social platforms, and maybe what you see as being quite alternative, and we think Daisie is a place where all of those artists can really come into their own.
100%.
Yeah, and I was going to say about that actually, because I know you use chains instead of followers. And,
exactly, yeah.
And do you think that's a reflective of, because social media can be very individualistic, especially now? How was that idea coming about for you?
Yeah, so in the app that we have at the moment, we use this word called chain, which is actually kind of a terrible word. So we're going to be changing that when we relaunch in April. But the concept is still the same. So we wanted to come away from follow counts because usually what's popular isn't necessarily like the most exciting or innovative idea we've ever seen. So for us, it was really important to reward people based more on input and how much collaborating you're desperately trying to do. I think in the real world, that's how you get rewarded as a creative person. So we wanted to reflect that with the online platform. So now we have this thing called rep, which is basically an accumulative number based upon, your uploads, the amount of content you upload, the amount of interactions you have, the amount of people that you reach out to, things you like, and ultimately like your use of the app. That's how you really start to grow your profile, and that is reflective in the real world too. So it was important to us to really hone in on that.
I guess that kind of comes into, do you think diversity is really important when collaborating with other people?
Absolutely. With the industry at its current state, it really is just people giving out opportunities to what they personally think is going to be cool. And it's more often than not really out of touch with what people actually want to be seeing. So I think it's really interesting being able to give creatives the chance to reach out to who they want to and collaborate on projects that they want to build. And I think, the work that will come from that will ultimately be far more diverse and far more exciting because it's not just one person's sort of jaded idea of what's cool. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what we do at Fade as well is, we've got 64% managerial positions being led by women, and we're trying to really push for this as well. And with our age group, you creating Daisie, us creating Fade, do you think it's our generation really that's leading this change and trying to break these barriers which are traditionally set up by the typical straight white male kind of narrative that we're given?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as much as we're all trying our best at all ages to really be inclusive of all people, these huge problems that are set within society really do just move generationally, and there are spikes that happen, which is really exciting with things like the metoo movement, but ultimately these things just take a lot of time, because people have opinions and views that are so strong that they really don't understand why they feel, and it's been ingrained upon people that there's a certain way that we view other cultures, other races, other genders, other sexualities. And it's this weird yeah, it's just something that will change with time. But it gives me so much pleasure knowing that I'm of a generation that is so forward thinking.
Yeah.
And, I've always been in part of a family who's very liberal and very open. But even just seeing the difference between the language that I would use compared to someone of my mother's generation, like. Even as a very liberal woman, like, it just changes. Yeah, and it just takes time, It
can be quite shocking sometimes because you can come from like a place that you think is really liberal.
Yeah, exactly. And people are like, how they feel on the inside, they can be very open and very, come from a place of real love and respect. But I think it's just like people are very uneducated and unaware. And I think it's really lovely being part of a generation that is the opposite.
So, yeah, completely. So, obviously, we have come a long way in terms of diversity and representation in terms of the industry. And, like, there are things that are changing, you say, like the metoo movement and so on. What do we have left to do? There's so much, but what would you like to see be achieved in the next, say, 10, 15 years?
So, right now, it really feels like we're going through a phase of, like... So, when we were going to these investor meetings, people would say, like, we're really looking to invest in female founders. And I'm like, why don't you just invest in people? Yeah, like, I'm clearly just a statistic for you now. Like, why can't you, I guess we're still trying to break that barrier. And of course, like, it's, we've come a long way. But, I can't speak for women that came before. I wasn't alive. And I can't speak for women who will come after me. But in terms of, like, what my view of the world is right now, is that it is just starting to be people that it's not like a genuine it's place of like it's not from a very genuine place.
I think it's statistics
exactly. And it would really be nice for, if I had children or grandchildren, for that to be different in their life.
How do you think, like when you were 12, 13, trying to get into the industry, as it were, obviously these kinds of apps weren't as prominent. How do you think an app like Daisie would have helped you? Do you think it would have made it a lot easier for you back then?
Yeah, I think when I was really young, I think if I wasn't where I am right now, and I was this age, or like 16 or something, I could have really benefited from Daisie, because I'm not from a place where there's a lot of people who loved what I loved, and as someone who saw themselves as very creative and artistic, like, I didn't feel like that was something that was really celebrated at my school, and there was never really a lot of hope for, like, what
it's still so about academics.
Exactly,
it really is.
I always thought that I was just going to do something that was really stupid with my life because I'm not smart, and being able to go onto a platform and realize that there was other people out there who are just as weird and crazy and talented as I am, and celebrate that would have been so important for me, had I not been able to find those people the way that I did. Yeah,
we definitely find often overlooked and people underestimate, like, doing what we do.
Media, people think, like, it's just a real shame. It's just this weird view, but again, it will move generationally.
So obviously, you're 21, about to turn 22, the new series comes out. Give us your plans for your 20s very briefly.
20s, what do I want? I definitely don't want children. What do I want for my 20s? God, that's a really great question, because it's a whole decade. I want to have produced my own movie. I've been writing something for a while.
Sick.
I also would have loved to have shown the world what I can do as a dancer. It's been something that I've spoken about a lot, and people are like, know about me, and I've never really shown it. So I would love to work on something, like a project that really highlights me, the way I view myself as a creator.
Okay.
I want success for Daisie, and I don't know, maybe some more dogs.
Relatable. Okay, final questions, because I know we've got to shoot off. Is it Ella and Gavin or Gavin and Ella?
Oh God. Okay, let's decide.
This decides the rest of our career together.
Let's do it.
Got to go. 5, I won't be offended.
What sounds better?
Oh, she did there. She went there. It's okay.
We all
It's
heard
just because if you put yourselves together,
Together.
Together.
you'd be Gala.
Gella. Would be
Gella.
okay.
Gella.
But you wouldn't be like Alvin.
Even.
You know, that
Yeah, it
wouldn't
just
really.
doesn't work.
It wouldn't
Well,
work.
it's victory.
It's
Sorry.
distraught.
I'm leaving.
But thank you so much, Maisie. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. And yeah, make sure you get the app Daisie. It is on the App Store. Is it on the Android store?
Yeah, also, guys, if you want to be on the beta version, you should email Maisie Williams at daisy.com and we can fast track you and put you on the beta in 2 weeks.
That is
Before
my
anyone
plans for the
else.
evening.
Excellent. That's Maisie Williams right here on Fade Radio. Thank you very much.
Thanks.